The series finale of The Boys. I honestly, really enjoyed The Boys season 1. I think it's fantastic. First season was awesome. Kind of an examination of superheroes, and that truthfully, while they may be heroes to the public, to the media, forward facing, the reality is these people are complete a-holes and evil behind the scenes. Now, you could look on this as an indictment of politicians. I think it's a very on the nose about celebrities, but the theme of The Boys and how all the characters kind of, dragged into this mission to take out and expose the worst of the heroes, uh, the worst being, of course, Homelander. It's a great premise. And I'll say this: love the characters. I love Carl Urban as Butcher, Jack Quaid as Huey, other characters, Frenchie, Mother's Milk, Starlight, and the idea of the Seven being like a Justice League. Love it. From season 1, was hooked. And as each season continued on, it became more and more one-sided politically, which I think when people look back on the show, it's going to date. It's going to seem dated. Like, ooh, that seems very 2017. And it just became more caught up in political commentary centered around Trump. And it look, I think every president has in some way influenced media and kind of how we feel about the country. But this show did a terrible job. I don't mind critiques of both sides, but this show didn't dish out the critiques fairly. Not at all. The real highlight of it, before I talk about the finale, and I will get into spoilers, I want to talk about Antony Starr, who plays Homelander. The only reason, and I've watched all the seasons, and I finished the finale just before we went live, and I'll say he is the start of the show. And when he's gone, I don't know that I not only care about this show, care about this universe at all. He is one of those villains like a Darth Vader. When we talk about Star Wars every once in a while on Film Threat. You take Darth Vader out of the equation of Star Wars, he's not the it's not all that interesting, right? I mean, Darth Vader, at least in the 6 movies and partly some of the sequel trilogy, is a driving force. Even when Vader is no longer alive or on screen, he's a force. And they keep dragging the character into other shows like Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, all that stuff. Anyways, back to The Boys. His performance as Homelander, that was the driving force behind the whole thing. And oddly, recently, and I'll bring up the tweet here where Antony, I'm going to share this real quickly because I think this is an important thing to look at. Antony Starr didn't really want all this. I'm gonna share this before I get into the finale and the spoilers. But here we go, real quick. In this post, right here, Eric Kripke reveals Antony Starr's goal was never to create Homelander as a Donald Trump parody. This is from Entertainment Weekly. I totally understand Ant's point of view. He's like, I'm not doing a caricature. I'm trying to create a character with a consistent internal life. And I absolutely agree and respect that, Kripke says. So we'll just work on purely internal logic and character motivation and we won't bring Trump into it all that much. Well,
he failed.
He kind of failed at that, oddly. But let's get into the finale. And I told you you could watch the finale and not even have watched the previous episode, boys. The only maybe last episode, because some big things happened there, but the whole thing has been to put the whole driving force is a plan for Butcher, Huey, and the gang to take out Homelander, as Homelander is being groomed in the media and by, and help from all of his cronies to turn him into the second coming. He will literally be God, replacing Jesus in the Democratic Church of America. This has been the driving plot. And they have a virus that could kill Homelander, but then he took a new version of the virus, the original version, to make him immortal. He's unkillable at this point. But they have a plan to turn Kimiko into a weapon that could sap Homelander of his powers, turn him into a regular human. That's the goal. And it turns into a showdown at the White House. And this image you see here, which is from the comics, you see on the poster promoting the boys, that's right out of the comic. It's Homelander hovering above the White House with Butcher on the lawn, and he's surrounded by other heroes in a standoff. That doesn't happen. It plays out not in I won't say it's small, but I'll say because I feel like I like to torture myself with this. Like, I don't like what happens in the show, but I care about the characters. I care about Huey and Butcher. I care about the characters. But this finale was a colossal disappointment. The whole standoff takes place in the Oval Office in a fight to kind of get Homelander in a position where Kimiko can use her power on him to take him out. And while all that's happening, I kind of feel like it should mean something. And when the inevitable happens and Homelander is not just killed, he's humiliated. I shrug my shoulders. I think, what's the point? What do we did we feel anything? What was the point? Did we learn anything? No. And this is a completely aside. Does every character have to speak in the most vile language ever? It's like all the characters are written by the same writer's room. They don't have individual characters. Like, they all, when they go into this sort of filth speak, they all sound alike. It's the same writers writing the same vile monologues for every character. So they all sound the same and they're not distinct. That's a side beef, and that's troubled the show. Finishing up my review is that it was just I'm sitting here watching this. It's now 5 seasons into this show. And once you've gone that many seasons, you begin to see the cliches. The cliches just reveal themselves. Everything, it's like, this is going to happen. Butcher will say, give a speech. They get around. Here's the plan. The plan goes wrong. And then it leads to the same result. Now they just finally took out the most likable, because look, villains in fiction can be very popular. And I think Antony Starr as Homelander is one of the most popular villain characters. Like, he's amazing. But what they did to the show, and what I find really kind of funny too, is the way the show resolved. is that the one thing they didn't really deal with is that these people have been propagandized to hate the Starlighters and hate Starlight. How are they going to deprogram from the media telling them what to think, and then suddenly the world is okay? It was very bizarre. The ending to me was disappointing. But what's the one thing I can say about the show, in all its like overt sex and gore, at least the last episode was, the first half hour isn't boring. Then they spend a half hour of the episode on all this resolution and all this like epilogue. So ultimately was disappointed. Now that Homelander is taken out and everything is, quote, resolved, I don't know that I want to see any more Vought stories. I mean, Soldier Boy is very interesting. A prequel series with him, not sure how much I care about. So as it is, a disappointment. I think this would have been better at 3 seasons and without the looming, constant harping on Trump stuff, which wasn't necessary to make a great character, which Antony Starr points out. So that's where we'll leave it. A disappointment.
So they killed Trump.
Effectively.
They must feel good about that. Finally, the catharsis.